Good evening.
I'm doing well.
What's your name for those who might not know you?
My name is Ochiel Dudley.
Yes.
I represented Dr. Jack Muimali, one of the respondents.
Yes. Now, how does it feel having won such a big case tonight?
Well, I feel happy for the Constitution and for Wanjiku, the people who've been saying that this thing is being forced on them and they don't understand it. I think this is their victory. Yeah.
What major lessons should our politicians take, and should we as the Wanjiku take home after this big ruling?
I think the main lesson is that the Constitution is strong enough and it will protect itself from assault. Because here you had the biggest political forces in the country, people we all admire, Baba and Uhuru Kenyatta, and they were committed to this project to have the constitution amended. They could have succeeded if it was the former constitution. But since this one is strong and will speak for itself, I think this is about the 15th or 16th attempt to amend this constitution since 2010. And it has also repulsed this one. This was the strongest, though, of all those attempts. Yeah.
Are there any matters in particular amongst the 17 issues or so that were raised that we've gotten a little bit more clarity here in the Court of Appeal than we did in the High Court?
Well, the judges largely concurred with the High Court, just clarifying a few points here and there. For example, on the issue to be presented at the referendum, the High Court had said it is the questions. This court has said it is the bill. You present the bill, but you ask a question on the bill. Largely, more or less the same thing. Yeah, yeah.
And on the issue of IEBC, what does this mean now for IEBC? Because a majority of the bench decided that IEBC is not properly constituted. Yet we've seen them conduct by-elections and they've continued their business on since the rest of the commission has resigned.
Well, two things in that. First is that we should never leave the IEBC vacant for long. There's no reason why Uhuru did not reconstitute the IEBC, why he did not declare the vacancies after the likes of Commissioner Kombe had resigned. I mean, this is 4 years later. There's no excuse for that. And if the court had endorsed that view, it would have been legitimizing vacancies in the IEBCs. The court has sent a strong message that it must never be vacant. Directly to your question, the declaration given today is retrospective. It goes forward. It doesn't go backward. So the by-elections are not affected. And I think the High Court had said that the referendum involves policy questions. The IEBC must be fully correct. Conducting a by-election does not have policy implications anyway.
Are there any...
You'll also remember that the IEBC is currently being reconstituted. We've had interviews already, and I think names have also been presented. I'm not sure how far we've gone with that. I think it must be somewhere in Parliament or so. Yeah.
Are there any issues amongst the 17 or so issues that were presented that you feel the Court of Appeal judges did not rule according to what you wish or what you wanted?
No, I think we got what we came here for. Yeah. And our main aim was that the referendum does not proceed. We could have won some issues, lost on some, but in a way that allows the referendum to go on. Or we could have lost on some issues, but won some that allowed the referendum to go on. So our main thing is that the referendum is not proceeding. Yeah.
Thank you so much and congratulations in a victory.
Yes, we are very happy as a Hustler Nation. Personally, I'm vindicated. I had personally warned the president that this process will fail. But they didn't listen to me. I was kicked out. And it is coming to pass. I wish I was heard then. Definitely will not be here now. When you look at the judgment, several grounds have been cited by the court as to why BBI should die. You would find them, they would agree together in some, they would disagree in others. But the singular issue they agreed on was that there is no way the president could have used popular initiative to initiate constitutional amendment. That is Article 257 of the Constitution. That was the bottom line of what I was telling him in my letter. Because in my letter, what I had done was to tell him that the people are not feeling BBI. It appears to be driven by the provincial administration. It is not participatory and inclusive, the way what we call a popular initiative usually is. But there was a lot of chest thumping. There was a lot of intimidation. You know, so many people were being arrested for saying a view that is contrary to the government position. Now see where we are. BBI, the government spends billions of shillings to push BBI. If definitely I was heard in January, we would not be here.
Mheshimiwa, what lessons do you think politicians and Kenyans as a whole should take out of the judgment and the whole BBI process that, as you've said, Kenyans wasted a lot of money on it and now it's null and void?
Two things. Number one, we need to celebrate our courts. They seem to have become independent, courageous, and were it not for the courts, definitely our 2010 constitution would have been mutilated. The second lesson Kenyans should learn is a constitutional review process is something that needs to be participatory. You should not weaponize it for politics. Remember, there was a time I saw Raila Odinga telling Ruto that you should remain we want to use this process to finish you. I recall even some parliamentarians, when they were voting in parliament on BBI, they would announce that Tanga Tanga is dead now. To me, that's a problem. Yes, you don't expect a 100% convergence of views on matters constitution, but the process has to be inclusive to the best of our knowledge. Finally, another lesson is that we need to focus on economy. We look at our poor people, joblessness. Yeah, we look at our collapse in healthcare. We need to look at our collapse in agriculture sector. Constitutional making process or review is not a priority for Kenyans. Kenyans want to have food on their table. Kenyans want to have a peaceful election. We strongly believe the Constitution of Kenya 2010 is a good document. It has helped Kenyans, they have been progressive. Remember, it is on that basis, for instance, in 2017, an election of a president was overturned. So effort to overturn or to mutilate that constitution were not good at all.
Uamuzi huu nafikiria inaguzia IEBC kushinda mtu yeyote mwingine kwa sababu ikisimama vile iko IEBC haiwezi kufanya chochote. Na pia swali itaulizwa kwa zile vitu IEBC ilifanya kutoka 2018 mpaka leo zitasimama ama zitasimama. Kwa hivyo IEBC watajiamulia, rais atajiamulia, attorney general atajiamulia, nasi pia tutajiamulia. Asanteni.
There were no explicit provisions demonstrating that some provisions of the Constitution were not amendable, save for the fact that if there were provisions that would be considered to alter the nature and the structure of the Constitution, probably on a case-to-case basis, they may look at it a little bit differently, which they did in this case. Now, that is a matter that puts into play the difficult task of making a determination as to what is a basic structure which cannot be amended, because it will be a matter that will require some form of judicial intervention. I also think to some extent, if one considered the context of the BBI process, there may be issues which I may not necessarily specify here, but which indirectly may have contributed to the outcome that resulted in the majority of the judges declaring that the process was unconstitutional, although there was dissent by some of the judges in some of the issues.
It surely has been an historic day right here from the Court of Appeal, where they upheld the ruling by the High Court to stop BBI for the second time. That's for us.